An Evening at the Movies is a proud member of the I Did Not Make These Rankings podcast network. Other shows in the network include Mass Debaters, The Sip List, Crushgasm, Love is Black, Men Are the Prize, Crime Rewind, and Literature Readers. You can find out all about our shows and more at idnmtrpodcastnetwork.com. Happy listening. You are now entering the world of a movie review. A world full of drama, joy, ridicule, movie spoilers, unpopular opinions, and adult humor for as far as the eye can see. Welcome to An Evening at the Movies.
Hi, people. It is obviously not Movie Sunday, but one of us has plans this weekend, so we're going to do Movie Friday for you people.
Yay!
So it was going to be Movie Thursday, but I had inside information that I didn't share, and somebody didn't realize that today's movie is almost 3 hours long. So it's all good. But yes, it is Movie Friday. We are here live to do what we do best. And for those of you who don't know, though, this is An Evening at the Movies, the podcast where we eat the stale popcorn, we drink the watered down sodas, and we talk about all of our favorite movies and why we love them. I feel like there's going to be a lot of love shared in this episode today, but that's to be discussed later in the episode. But before we discuss all the love, because woo-hoo, we need to welcome everybody's favorite co-host on my whatever direction that is.
I think I'm on your right because you're on my left.
Hi, co-host.
Hello. That doesn't help. Okay. Trying to get my lighting situated in here. Fixtuated. I'm just making up words because we're going to have to talk about a lot of made-up words today. So,
yeah, there was a certain element of that in the original movie that's almost as old as Harvey, but they definitely ripped the Band-Aid off when it comes to being linguistically creative with this movie.
Well, it's not an original movie.
Not that that's a bad thing.
Yeah. Yeah, there are lots of made up words that I intend to add to my vocabulary after this.
Well, I mean, it's only fitting because, 4 years ago, we came up with the whole certifiably fuckable and, the Siplet / An Evening at the Movies glossary of terms because, if you're new to the show, it could be difficult to understand our conversation sometimes.
They're scandalicious.
So, certifiably fuckable. Yes, we are. And we're not very PG with our vocabulary either. No. And if you got a problem with that, you can clam your tits.
Yes.
Clam them right up. So, but yes, we have a special request from
fluffing my hair.
One of our.
Sorry, continue.
Okay, Ariana. We have a special request from one of our, dare I say, long-term OG unpopped kernels. Well, I wouldn't necessarily say the first, but one of the first. So, Brandy wanted us to discuss a multiple award nominated movie this week. So, we're going to Defy Gravity, and discuss the musical prequel. Okay, yay.
What? You froze up. Nobody heard you. You right when you got to the movie title.
Of course. Well, okay, fine. Then we're going to defy gravity and discuss the multi-award nominated musical Wicked.
Yay. Wicked the film, that is.
Yes, because I'm freaking cheap enough that I still have not seen the stage performance. Not that I
I
don't.
don't
After seeing this first half of the movie, I am all down to freaking go and see this on stage.
Same.
There's just something,
To
dare I say, magical about
Beautimus.
watching something on exactly watching something on stage like this. And
Oh yeah.
I would imagine this would have incredibly elaborate sets and effects and all of that. That
Yeah, yeah, for sure. And I've seen clips and
so
stuff, but I've never actually seen it in a theater. But I have listened to the soundtrack a lot. So, and I
oh,
have the
it's
book, which I now need to read, I think. I've heard the book is way more, it's darker. It's really dark. So now I'm interested.
I'm not gonna lie. I have gone halfway through the book, and I will second what my awesome co-host just said. It is definitely a lot more darker, but at the same time, if you actually gone back and read the original novels that L. Frank Baum wrote, they're not necessarily rainbows and sunshine either.
Yeah.
So,
Luana is here. Hi, Luana.
uh,
Here in our
oh,
commentations.
I swear to God, I'm getting down to getting the privacy setting thing figured out as soon as we go live. Next up, I need to work on getting the comments turned on.
Do you not have
So
it on the side of your screen? Because it pops, it's right there for me.
I I do, but I'm while I'm talking, watching this, beautiful face talk. You know,
I mean, I'm
I
doing that
love my
too.
dulcet tones. I
I'm going to
mean,
make up words this whole episode, by the way. What does
oh,
that
I'm sure you will.
say, Luana? Does it say OBJ? We're too old to see the tiny font.
Right? Oh my
But
God,
anyway,
no, no. What did I miss something?
I don't know.
Probably,
This, this
but
movie was a long time coming, like a
oh,
really long time. So I'm glad
it,
that we finally got
it's.
it.
I mean, the stage performance has won all kinds of freaking
Oh, yeah.
Tony Awards, and it's. I don't know the official stats, but I would probably say it's one of the top Broadway shows of all time.
I mean, it's probably up there for sure.
I mean, I would
Might be
probably put
outdone
it in
by
the same
Hamilton.
category. I think Hamilton, Wicked, probably. I mean, this would probably be a interesting top five. Not that it's my top five this week, but Phantom of the Opera, Cats are
Ooh,
probably
the
very close to the
musical.
top of that.
Yeah. The musical with the most Tony Awards across all productions is one of my personal favorites, South Pacific. Rogers and Hammerstein are just like
Oh,
chef's kiss. 17 total awards, including 10 for the original 1949 production and 7 for the 2008 revival. So there you go.
wow.
Yeah,
Do
South
you have
Pacific.
the information as to how many Wicked has won?
I am looking.
I'm looking. I'm looking.
3. Best. Oh wait.
Really?
Yeah. A total of 3 Tony Awards at the 58th Tonys in 2004. Best costume design, best performance by an actress in a leading role for Idina Menzel, and best scenic design. Feels like it should be more than that.
That's where my really came from because I I would have thought that number would have been a lot higher.
I'd
I
like to see,
mean,
what is that? 2004. I may have to look up and see what it was up against. But so
it
yeah, good
wasn't
time.
Hamilton, that's for damn sure.
No.
So, just out of
Anyway,
curiosity, my Google Magic friend, how many does Hamilton have?
let's see. I'm going to say more than 3. 11.
Oh, I'm sure it's more than
16 nominations and 11 wins, which was a record breaker for the nominations. So yeah.
Well, yeah, because like you said with South Pacific, not all of those came at the same time. Part of those were original, and part of them were from the revival in 2008.
Right. Okay, so I'm trying to look at best show. Best actress, best actress, actor. I'm trying to find what other shows Wicked was up against for. Okay.
It beat out Halloween the musical.
Uh-huh. Okay.
It would.
Avenue Q, which I haven't seen it, but I know it was a really big deal. Caroline? I don't know. The Boy from Oz and Wicked. What the heck won? The only one of them I've heard of is Avenue Q, but I know Hugh Jackman was in The Boy from Oz, so that could have been a yeah.
Well, I mean, obviously the one that won was not Wicked.
Yeah. Oh yeah, so Hugh Jackman won. Idina Menzel won, which I said already. Avenue Q. Okay.
Okay. Well,
Avenue Q, from what I have read about it, had a pretty groundbreaking kind of like storyline, so that's probably why it won. So.
Well, and I've heard a lot of great things about that.
Yeah.
Production as well, so it doesn't necessarily shock me, but I may or may not be partial to the production that we will be discussing.
Yeah, for sure.
The cinematic version of today.
So Wicked.
So, but before we get to all of the discussions and sharing the love, because that's what we're all about, we are going to we have some information. For those of you that need the information, Wicked released on November 22nd, 2024. And by the way, just because I just said the date, if you have not seen Wicked, spoiler alert, because we're going to be talking about Mr. Wilson.
What?
We'll be. Oh, the other dog wants to say hi to you.
You have to remember that,
Bolton.
well, I didn't get to see, but you also have to remember that not everybody watches. Some people just listen. You throw out random stuff. We're like, what?
Oh,
Mr.
well,
Wilson. Anyway,
but anyway, back to the spoiler alerts. We will be discussing spoilers in said episode, but for one, I mean, it's Wizard of Oz based, so you should kind of sort of basically have the
right.
gist anyway. And, you know, if not, you know, you can always put a pause and come back and go find Wicked on Peacock and stream it now for 2 hours and 41 minutes and then come back.
Yeah.
So, um, you've been warned. 2 hours and 41 minutes, though.
Yeah, it's a
Uh,
long one.
it was directed by John M. Chu. It was released by Universal Pictures, which, as Amanda said last night while she was watching it, that old school, that Universal image at the beginning of the movie, chef's
It
kiss.
was very cool. It was very cool. It was very nostalgic and pretty.
It had a $150 million budget and made a whopping $750 million at the box office.
Jesus.
And it made some freaking money.
It was highly anticipated.
Um, well, like Amanda said a few minutes ago, I mean, this movie has been long overdue.
Yeah.
It's been set up, ready to go, cast, recast, cast again. I don't know how many times, but
Well, and the
again,
director, John
like I
Chu, had
said
wanted
though,
to do this for a very, very long time. There's a really good little like 45-minute documentary on Peacock about the making of it, if anybody wants to watch it.
which I highly recommend as well. I would watch it after you watch the movie
Oh, yeah, for sure.
because the movie deserves first run attention. But again, like we said, if you haven't seen it and need to see it, it's on the Peacock. Or if you want to see it again, go to the Peacock and watch it on the Peacock. But game time,
Okay.
we have a our infamous Rotten Tomatoes game, and I'm pulling up both numbers as we speak. I have a tomato meter and I have a popcorn meter.
Well, you kind of already scared me with at least the tomato meter, so now I'm kind of like doubting myself. But let's go popcorn meter first because I only heard good things about this movie. Everybody I know that saw it liked it. So I kind of wish Kendra was here because she was like the first one of our little group that saw it. I would like to hear her thoughts. But um I'm gonna go popcorn meter 84%. Tomato meter, let's go 73.
Your successful guessing streak has come to an end.
Well, shit.
Uh, we will go first with your popcorn meter. 95%.
Oh, okay. I should have been more
So,
generous.
you know, the fans showed much love and respect to the wonderment that is Wicked.
Yeah.
Um, the tomato meter, I highly disagree with. 88%.
Oh, you had me thinking it was going to be bad. 88% is
In
good
my opinion,
for critics. They can always find
I
something wrong.
I said, and I quote, that it's not as bad as it could be, but
Okay,
I personally feel like it is a low score.
I agree.
So,
And I'm just going to say I saw Anora, and I don't think it was that much better than Wicked. But yeah. So Wicked was nominated for 10 Oscars, only won 2, and they were, I mean, the ones they won were very highly deserved, production design and costume design, but they didn't win any acting awards, which I feel like Cynthia Erivo I don't know. I thought Demi Moore had it in the bag, and then it went to Mikey Madison, I think her last name is, who I like. And Nora
yeah.
was a good movie, but it was about 45 minutes too long. But yeah, I don't know. Wicked just had some really stiff competition this year, unfortunately, and the Academy doesn't award musicals very well anyway. So
Mm, and I don't remember if you and I had discussed this or not, or if it came up in the network chat, or maybe it was Kendra that had said it as well. But Wicked may not have gotten the attention it deserves this time around because of the hype and
true.
unsure feelings about said movie. We got to remember this is only part one, people.
Right.
There's a sequel still coming at the end of the year,
I
and
cannot wait.
it is not the first time that uh, the last movie in a franchise got awarded the Academy Award and a
True.
previous movie or two did not. So,
True.
Lord of the Rings: Return of the King won Best Picture, and Fellowship and Two Towers did not. So,
Yeah.
not saying that those movies deserve to be Best Pictures either, but how often does a sequel get the recognition heaped on it like that?
I maybe I'm wrong, or maybe I'm in the minority. I won't consider this a sequel. It's part two of two, kind of like the last Harry Potter movie or like the last Twilight movie. Like I don't consider
True.
those sequels. They're one story split into two parts. So, but I get what you're
Which,
saying. I just wouldn't refer to this as a sequel. But
oh, I see what you're saying exactly. And like we said when we were talking on the phone earlier, I'm glad this movie is part one, part two,
yeah,
because there's still a whole another half of the story that they have to tell.
yeah,
And like we said with our you've been warned 2 hours and 41 minutes, part two is probably going to be in that same neighborhood. So you're
yeah.
looking at a 5 hour long movie that, from what I've read so far, I feel like the movie was pretty close to very faithful to the book, with the caveat that the movie isn't quite as dark.
Right.
So,
Well, so for the
plot point
people,
wise,
yeah.
yes.
I am sorry about the road noise. I'm trying to mute it, but it's 5:30 here and everybody's coming home from work. So for the people that don't know, which if you're listening to this and you haven't seen it, you either don't want to watch it or you need to turn this off. But just in case, for the people that don't know, Wicked is a prequel to the Wizard of Oz. So it follows a young Elphaba, aka Wicked Witch of the West, and a young Glinda, who was then Galinda, in college, and describes how they meet, how the Wicked Witch becomes the Wicked Witch, and you get a lot of insight into things that pop up in the Wizard of Oz that you're like, Oh, that's why that is the way it is. Um, flying monkeys? Ugh, I know we're not there yet, but that part was hard for me to
That
watch.
that
And I know there's
was
CGI monkeys, but whatever.
well, exactly. But that probably was the most difficult scene to watch of the entire first 2 hours and 41 minutes.
Yeah. And it's interesting because when you watch The Wizard of Oz, especially like for, people like, I mean, our parents grew up with it and we grew up with it, even though it was very old. We still grew up. I mean, I think they played it, what, like every Thanksgiving or close to Christmas. And sometimes they would, like, it
Hmm.
was like a family event to watch The Wizard of Oz on TV once a year when they would show it. So, but the thing is, as a child, you don't question any of the stuff you see because of course, at the end, you realize it's all a dream, but even before that, you know that he's a wizard and he's magical, and this whole place is magical. So you don't question why monkeys have wings. You don't question why adult people are 2 feet tall and talk like they've sucked on helium, and you don't. You don't question why trees can talk and throw apples. Like, you just accept it as
Yeah,
this magical world. But now in this story, you're kind of getting a little bit of background on some of that stuff, and and you find out in this, like you find out in the Wizard of Oz itself, that the wizard has no magic, that he's just a regular guy.
yeah. Well, and
Well, not regular,
my
but you know what I mean.
yeah, my thought probably about halfway through this movie was, and this is a shout out to one of our favorite TV shows as well. This movie and this story actually gives you kind of a Cobra Kai feel to it, where it allows you to look at the story that you know and you've grown up on and you love from
Right.
a different perspective. Because if you're, if you grew up loving the Wizard of Oz like everybody obviously did, well, most people did.
Yeah.
Um, you know, there's the whole element of the Wicked Witch of the West is bad,
And she's a
Dorothy is good,
monster.
the Wizard of Oz is good. Exactly.
She has no
And,
redeeming qualities.
exactly. And, good versus evil, evil dies at the end. We all live happily ever after.
Right.
But this story definitely comes at you and presents a different perspective because, you know, especially in the beginning, Elphaba is not that person.
Right.
Galinda is not
This
rainbows and sunshine like
beautiful,
you would
yeah,
think that she's a
spoiled brat.
I mean, I was gonna say manipulative bitch, but you know,
I wouldn't say that because
it is
she's
what it is.
still, I mean, not a kid, but a college age. You're still a kid and you've been raised to be a certain way. Like, she is a little manipulative, but I think mostly she's just spoiled and entitled and doesn't understand that the world doesn't revolve around her. Because, like I said last
It
night, even her good deeds are loaded. So it's like,
Yeah,
I honestly feel like she has very, speaking of redeeming qualities, I feel like she has very few in this movie because everything has an underlying reason, but then also you could argue that it is just because she's a spoiled brat. She was raised to be sheltered, and all the, everything's about her and she's supposed to get what she wants. So it's like, on one hand she is kind of trying to do good things, but on the other hand, when push comes to shove, herself
mhm.
it's self motivated even when it's a good deed.
Yeah. Well, and this movie definitely poses. the question of, I guess, in a way, nature versus nurture, and
Right.
segue into the topic that I kind of mentioned last night that I said is definitely getting brought up today. But inherently, are people born wicked or are they made that way?
I mean, I'm going to answer this, and I think a lot of people aren't going to like my answer. Um, because it's easy, maybe not these characters, but it's easy to look at people in real life and just say those people are pure evil. First of all, evil and wicked are two different things. Evil is a religious construct. It's a, and I think to believe people are just evil, you are really talking about like the devil and all that stuff. But I don't think anybody is just one thing. I think people
Donald
are,
Trump.
huh?
Donald
No,
Trump.
but I think people are born a lot with a lot of their personality traits. Personality traits can be inherited, like that's a proven fact.
Mhm.
Um, People are coerced by their environment, by how they're raised, by how they grow up, by what is given to them or kept from them or taken from them. And there are people that are worse than other people. Like that's the truth. But I don't think anyone is just born evil or wicked. I mean, I like to believe that as new people, as babies, we're born with a clean slate. And it's what happens to us and how we decide to react to it and how we decide to move forward. That's what makes us who we are. And yeah, there's definitely genetics involved in like mental illness and stuff like that. But
Mhm.
even the worst people in the world, I don't think are just that one thing. But I'm not saying I can always see that because, yeah, I mean, you're talking about Trump. I would immediately say he's pure evil. But, you know, do I think he was born that way? No, I think he was raised to be an entitled piece of shit and has narcissistic personality traits that he was probably born with.
Yeah.
Alphabet they're kind of making it seem like she's always
Well,
had a darkness inside her and she's reacting to the injustice that's happening around her. Because so far
well,
she's not doing anything bad. She's just fighting the power. She's fighting back
yet
against the man. She's standing up for what's right. Sorry,
she
that
has.
was
Well, she's just now starting to learn how to quote unquote defy gravity. But you also have to consider. I'm not necessarily saying it's a contributing factor, but her conception is the product of extramarital affair.
right.
Her father doesn't give basically two shits about her and
Yeah,
her
he can't even
well
stand the
being.
sight of her. When she was born, he was literally
She,
like, take it away. Like, what the
yeah,
shit?
and she's blamed for her sister being in a wheelchair,
Right.
all of that, and you know psychologically that can't not have some kind of effect on a child, an adult, a human, anything. So I'm not saying it excuses becoming, you know, the Wicked Witch of the West, but
But we still don't know how she gets there. So that's why I'm really ready for the second part because right now Elphaba is relatable.
Mhm.
She's very like aside from being green and being like that much of an outcast, she feels like me. Like I would do what
Yeah,
she did. I would want to stand up for what's right. I would not want to torture animals. I would not want all these things that the wizard's trying to do. I wouldn't want to be a part of that and I wouldn't want to be used for that. So
yeah.
right now I'm still failing to see how she's done anything wrong, but if we're going off the continuing story, we know what
We
she
know
becomes
something's
and
coming.
it's not good. So it's like how does she get there?
No, and this is one of the there. I know that there's sci-fi nerds out there, and I'm going to throw this out there as well. But part one of this movie is the beginning of Star Wars Episode 3, where we haven't yet gotten to the straw that broke the camel's back and forced Anakin to become Darth Vader.
Right.
We know it's coming, but
Yeah.
it's a matter of what exactly was that straw. And I
Well, and
feel like we're obviously going to get that in part two.
yeah, for sure. But it's kind of like the whole I'm so glad I get to bring a Taylor reference into this, but um like Taylor wrote a song called My Tears Ricochet, and if you watch the documentary about the making of Folklore, she talks about this exact scenario. She compares it to superhero movies, but it's still the same. Like most of the times in these kind of stories, the villain used to be the good person's best friend. Like they used to be good friends, they used to love each other, and then something happens that one person's the hero and one person's the villain. But the villain doesn't always start out as the villain. So it's like, and that's what makes it even more heartbreaking because it's like, in real life, obviously, but also in movies, somebody you loved is now somebody you don't recognize and they're trying to destroy you. And it's like, where'd that person come from? We used to be besties.
Well, and it, there is a moment of this in the beginning of the movie as well when you have the opening number where the opening scene is basically the end of the Wizard of Oz,
Right.
and they're celebrating the death of the Wicked Witch and all of that, and um, yeah, Glinda is there celebrating with the Munchkins, and she makes reference to the fact that she has to go. Um, yeah, there's an issue with the wizard and him taking off and all of that's not the whole point of my what I'm saying though, but um, as she puts her little transport bubble thing around her, one of the Munchkins steps forward and says, "Wait a minute, weren't you best friends with the Wicked Witch?" And she's all like, um, "We went to school together. We weren't
Yeah, she downplayed it.
best friends." So, you know,
To be fair, they were
again,
best
when
friends for like 5 minutes.
yeah, it's one of those. There's a fine line between the truth and what Glinda wants everybody to believe.
Of course. And now she's the
So,
only one around to tell the story. So,
yeah. Well, I mean,
can
the
I just
sister's
say,
gone,
oh,
the witch is
yeah.
gone.
I can't believe Nessa dies. Like, now that I know Nessa, I'm like, I don't want her to die. Like, I'd be pissed if someone dropped a house on Nessa too. Like, I am pissed. Not that it was Dorothy's fault,
Yeah,
because it wasn't, but
I'm not gonna lie. I did not put that connection together until probably about 75% of the way through the movie, and I'm sitting here and it, had that light bulb moment where the light bulb
mm-hmm.
going on over my head, and I'm like, she
Right? It's
has no other
fun.
sister, and they have to drop a house on the witch's sister.
But
That,
also,
that me,
so I don't know how Wicked ends because, like I said, I haven't read the book, I haven't seen the show. I need
same.
to know, is it going to back right up to the beginning of Wizard of Oz? Because first of all, where did the ruby slippers come from, and why did Nessa have them? Like, I'm
She
invested
don't
in
need
that
no.
storyline.
She's in a wheelchair. She don't need no damn shoes.
Oh, fuck you! Come on.
I I'm being a smartass.
I know you are. Speaking
But
of that, They did say in that documentary, and I don't know her name. I feel bad. I should have had it pulled up, but the girl that plays Nessa, they said was like the first disabled person to ever play Nessa, which I thought was pretty cool. And I get that because on stage it's a lot more difficult probably like to make that
Yeah.
happen. But I thought that was pretty cool for her because she is actually in a wheelchair in real life, so good for her. Um
Well, and
but
there's
what I was gonna say,
absolutely no reason why a disabled person couldn't get that role and have the opportunity. Why can't a disabled person, you
right.
know, be a movie star?
Yeah, and I get in a stage show, I kind of get it. I still think they could probably pull it off given what we've seen so far of Nessa, but we don't know what else her scenes are going to entail, and maybe it's just not that plausible, but whatever. I thought that was a really cool fun fact. So kudos to her.
Yeah.
Um, but I do want to say, if I could make anything happen in the world right now, okay, I shouldn't say it like that. There's plenty of other things. I want my own pink bubble and beautiful cushiony chair to float around in. I want to enter every room like how Glinda enters Munchkinland.
Oh,
That is what I deserve. That is the queen that I am. I should be able to float in a bubble with a gorgeous chair, and then I can just pop the bubble and then make the bubble come back. And I can always be wearing a big pink dress that has 15 layers because that's how many layers that dress has. Anyway,
I'm not gonna lie. I could see my plobster riding around in a big pink bubble,
I'd do it in a heartbeat.
and her husband would probably second that as well.
I'm a girly girl. I don't care. I mean, I can be all kinds of things, but honestly, if I'm like if I could wear a crown every day, I probably would. And it's not because I'm a brat and I think I'm so cool. I just think it's beautiful. Like I'm joking, but I really don't think I'm that special. But if
Well,
I
I mean,
could wear ball gowns every day and a crown every day and whatever, I would totally do it.
you've got a tiara.
I do. It's beautiful.
I'm
I
surprised you're not
still
wearing
wore
it
it for this
today.
episode. What's the matter with me?
I
I
mean,
wore my
I was
shirt.
fully expecting when I clicked on the add to
Damn it.
studio that ping, you were gonna pop up with your little freaking tiara on.
Man. Hey, it's not a tiara. It is a full-on crown with
Okay, well
jewels and
that
everything.
that too.
I also own a tiara, but that's
I
beside the
mean,
point. Damn, I
spoiler
should
alert for
have
the
that.
future though, it's probably not the last time we'll be talking about these movies. So
Well, I didn't get to
tune in
say
next time
this.
for huh?
Sorry, I didn't get to say this. I meant to say it, and then I didn't when we were recording the Top Gun episode. I have decided that I am going to um, personify Darcy the Mail Girl from Joe Bob Briggs' Last Drive-In on this show and start showing up in costume or clothes related to the topic of the episode. So y'all stay tuned for that. Wearing that leather jacket and aviators was fun. Now I should be wearing my crown, motherfucker. Anyway, back to the show.
I mean, it that's not the first reference I've gotten to the leather jacket and the aviators either. I've gotten several messages from people. Was Amanda literally trying to channel her inner Val Kilmer? I'm like, well, Val Kilmer, Tom Cruise, whoever. I mean, they all kind of sort of wore leather jackets and aviator glasses, but
I mean, I try to wear stuff related to the topic if I have something, but I feel like I need to kick it up a notch after the Top Gun episode. So,
well, I mean, the Top Gun was pretty freaking spot on. So, um,
can we talk about the talking animals for a second? Because I did not anticipate that. And it's funny when she's like, "Can you imagine a world where animals don't talk?" And I'm like, "That's the world I live in. There was a world when animals talked."
right?
And also Peter
I
Dinklage as
mean,
the professor. So good.
um, Tyrion Lannister as,
A goat professor.
or what's his face from that Christmas movie that we shall not be discussing.
Call me
Cue
elf
the fuck
one
off.
more time. He's an angry elf. The
I
talking
mean,
animal kind of freaked me out a
I'm
little bit, but
yeah, it definitely felt like, and I said this last night as well, but animatronic country bear, whatever.
yeah, the bear
It,
was freaky. The goat wasn't as bad. I think maybe because he had good dialogue and was just like, you watched him long enough to go, oh, okay, a goat's their professor. I guess that's cool. But the bear was freaky. The nanny bear.
yeah.
But it's,
Well, I think it definitely helped add to the creepiness level of the conversion when you get to the end of the movie as well.
yeah. But again, The Wizard of Oz has
But
talking trees and monkeys with wings and ugh. We need to talk about
oh
that, I
yeah,
guess.
so there's no. I mean, the gloves are definitely off when it comes to being creative and creating the magical world of Oz because nothing is off limits. I
Right.
mean, even like one of my throwbacks that I loved about this movie was when Elphaba and Glinda get to meet Jeff Goldblum, the Wizard of
He's
Oz,
an
and
amazing wizard. Oh, that was so perfectly cast.
oh, we're gonna get to that in a second too. But he shows them the, you know, I guess you could say Beetlejuice esque blueprint for his vision of what he wants to make Oz,
Yeah.
and he's all like, "Well, I've got this road thing that
Yeah.
leads all the way through, you know, the land, and all roads lead to obviously the Emerald City, but you know, what color should I make the bricks in this road?" And they're all blue, green, purple, maybe yellow.
I love when Glenda's like, "Go back." He's like, "Yellow?" Yeah, it just screams road to me. Like, what? But okay.
You know, it's definitely, you know, wink wink for the story to shout out to let the long-term diehard fans see aspects of how the world that they grew up loving became the world that they grew up loving.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I
Because
liked
obviously
that too.
Oz at this point is the Oz. So hopefully we get some more of that in the sequel coming up at the end of the year as
Yeah.
well. But oh my god, back to the whole Jeff Goldblum thing though.
Oh, yeah.
Like he's very good at, you know, especially when you first meet him, you want to, oh, it's the wizard, and you know, he's all great and powerful. But
He's really
then,
not.
he also, yeah, exactly. He plays the sleazy Trump esque aspect of the character almost masterfully as well.
But he's so charming.
So
Even when he's revealing, like, so first of all, I
yeah,
did not see
Trump,
that plot twist coming again because I haven't read the book or seen the show. I did
yeah,
not. I knew that the wizard wasn't actually powerful because we know that from the Wizard of Oz. But I
yeah,
did not see Madame Morrible and him being in this diabolical plot to get Elphaba to do their evil bidding. Like That broke my heart. And I was like, what? But even when he's telling her, he's still so fucking charming. Like, Madame Morrible, at least her evil side comes out and she just starts being a nasty bitch about it. And I'm like, okay, whatever, good for you. But he's still just being
She's
charming
not.
Mr. Wizard. You went, I can't hear you, buddy. Yeah, it's like he's so charming that you can't help but like him, even though he's diabolical.
Yeah, yeah. Well, and like I was saying before my technology cut out on me, Madame Morrible was a bitch
Yeah.
the first time you met her. When I have to do this because, and I've been waiting as soon as it popped up in the movie. As soon as you meet her at the University of Shiz,
Shiz.
you know, she's like, if not directly, the headmistress of the university, but
Right.
yet she still treats and talks to, at the time, Galinda
Mm-hmm. Like
like
she's garbage.
she's inferior and she's a piece of shit. And yeah, like probably a more PC way of putting it, but you know.
I guess I didn't expect her to be the villain. I don't
So
know
you
why.
get
I think, oh, sorry. I think maybe I was caught up in the whole beauty of everything and I was more focused on Galinda and Elphaba that I didn't really, other than her costumes, I will say Michelle Yeoh, uh, Morrible had the best costumes of the whole movie. And I am a pink girly girl like Glinda, but oh my god, her costumes were amazing. And Michelle Yeoh is a queen.
her costumes in this movie were like Elizabeth Banks costumes in The Hunger Games.
Yeah, but a little more like authoritarian. Like everything she wore had sharp edges and like cloaks and
Mhm.
like it was all very beautiful, but it gave a very authoritarian like vibe and while being beautiful, which I loved. They deserve that costume design Oscar for sure, for all of it.
I was gonna make, I was, yeah, um, I was gonna make a point, and then it literally just went in one ear and out the other.
I'm sorry.
Well, okay, so no, you're fine. Um, I do feel like before we get to our top five list, though, well, there is a couple things that we do definitely need to discuss, but
Monkeys. We
the
gotta talk
main
about
one, was there anything that you didn't particularly care for in the movie?
the um
Well, the monkey thing was definitely a big one.
I mean, it's not that it was a thing I didn't like, but I did not see that coming, and he totally set her up for it. Like this monkey is always looking up at the sky, and they're like literally telling her without telling her what spell to cast. And not only does she not know it can't be undone, but it
Yeah,
doesn't just do that monkey, it does all of them. And so you see her walk out and all of these monkeys are growing wings and it was very American Werewolf in London style where their bodies are literally breaking apart to sprout these wings and they're clearly in pain and I was just like
yeah.
that was brutal. And Elphaba, she's so upset about it and they're just treating her like it's no big deal. They're using her. It's so
Well,
annoying.
because that's one of the big soapboxes she's standing on is, fair treatment of animals, because animals are not being treated
Right.
well.
And he even told her he would help her. And it's like he was never going to do that. Damn it, you're muted again. I can see Casey cussing over there, but I can't hear it. But I can see him saying, "Oh, motherfucker!" Stupid technology.
Exactly. Um, but he's manipulates her into doing his bidding.
Yeah,
Even though it's completely 100% against what she wants to do and what she's trying to do.
and he did it so well because I didn't see it at all. Again, I don't know. Did
Mm.
you? Because maybe I just wasn't paying enough attention. Maybe I was distracted by other things. Did you see any of that coming?
The manipulation into turning the monkey guard
Yeah.
into the winged monkeys.
Or did you get that
I,
far in the book so you already knew? Like, I
no,
had no idea.
I did not get that far into the book. So, I mean, I kind of would when the monkey guard, basically welcomed them into the Emerald City. It's all like, oh,
No
well, that's
wings.
kind of a nice little nod, but there's no wings. Eventually, something's going to have to be done or said about that.
Yeah. I just
I
didn't
didn't
see it. I
exactly
don't know.
know how it was going to play out, but yeah, that totally using her feelings and manipulating her to do the bidding and all of
Yeah.
that. He's an ass.
Yeah.
Her and Morble both.
Well, I know last night I was kind of like sending you screenshots and talking about all these what I think are like iconic images. I feel like I mean obviously of Elphaba, especially at the end when the cloak and the hat and the broom and like it's all just so iconic, but also Morable going out to the monkeys and that clap, like the clapping, and she's just like this large like figure and she's like rounding them all up. That to me was so iconic too. It was very Osmopolitan, as they say in the movie. Like there's a lot of stills iconic, and that
Vocabulary.
was one of them. Like, yeah. But anyway.
Well, and still, you get one of the most iconic images of the entire movie in that last image you get
Hmm.
before to be continued flashes across the screen with the hat and the cloak and the you
Yeah.
know silhouette and all of
Oh,
that. It's like,
gorgeous.
ooh, you rat bastards! And now I have to wait what 6 months for
I had
7 months for
chills,
the
like literal chills. Which I know I told you that last
because
night, but
it's
yeah.
well, yeah, and it's one of those things where if we were to do top five lists based on greatest movie villains of all time, for me personally, the Wicked Witch of the West would probably be safely ensconced in my top three.
Is that the
With
top 5 you
the other,
picked?
no,
Oh, okay. There wasn't
no,
real sorry,
but
circling back real quick. There wasn't really anything I didn't like about the movie. Honestly, I feel like last night I had a couple of things where I'm like, "Eh," but not I mean, obviously the very quick love story with Glinda and what's his face, the prince guy, but there wasn't really anything I didn't like. I expected the movie to be what it was. I had high expectations for certain things, but like the storyline or like I don't know. I guess my expectations weren't high enough for me to be disappointed in it, if that makes sense. But I don't mean that in a bad way. I don't know if that makes sense. But
oh, you mean yeah, the booty call dude that puts the lion cub in the basket and
yeah,
he and Elphaba ride off like Mrs. Gulch in the beginning of The Wizard of Oz.
that was a nice nod to Toto. Yeah, Elphaba's
I
about to
mean,
steal Glinda's
the
man.
only thing,
Yeah,
yeah, the only thing that would have made that more iconic would have been if there had been instrumental music.
Mhm. Like, just a hint of it would have been amazing. Like like, I will say, I know not all the
Yeah,
Blumhouse Halloween movies were favorites of ours, but they did really good jobs of dropping Easter eggs and, like, nods to the other movies. And this movie, in its explanation did, but I feel like they could have done, like, something like that. Like, just a quick, like, kinda like in Halloween H2O
yeah,
when the secretary goes and gets in the car, and we know she's Marion Crane from Psycho, and they just play that little tiny, like, 3 seconds of the Psycho music. Like, that would have been so cool if we just could have
yeah.
got a little. But yeah,
And it's not like Universal couldn't afford to, you know, buy the rights to said music as well.
right,
But
right.
it, I don't think that not being there killed the movie in any way, shape, or form.
No, and maybe they didn't want to go
Um,
that far. They didn't want to be cheesy about it, I
and that
guess.
could be too.
Yeah.
But I think, like you said, when I was watching the movie, there may have been one or two things where it's like, but it's really not anything worth harping over or really bringing up because it's really not that big of a deal.
I mean, I already forgot whatever it was.
It's all exactly, and it's like I guess the only thing I would be the damn monkey transformation.
And only because it was hard to watch. It was important to the story, but yeah, it was hard to watch.
Oh yeah, no, it, you know, kind of sort of along the same lines of what I said though too. I mean, when you reveal said characters and you know that there's such thing as flying monkeys, but yet
Yeah,
you see monkeys dressed up like they are in the original, the Wizard of Oz, but yet don't have wings. It's like, okay,
yeah.
well, something's got to happen to do that, and
But that didn't
you
even
know,
occur to me.
okay,
I, I think I was just so lost in the magic of it that didn't even occur to me.
it's very easy to do that in this movie because
Yeah,
for a lot of people, these movie, the Wizard of Oz, and all of it, it for most of us anyway, the Wizard of Oz is our gateway into loving movies.
yeah.
You know,
Oh, speaking of that,
right,
I was about to
wrong,
say
or
our gate. Oh, sorry. We've
oh
got to
no, go
figure
ahead.
out this internet lapse thing. Damn it! It always feels like we're talking about
I
stuff.
know.
Um, I when you said gateway, I was like gateway into drugs, like because I loved as a kid how I never understood what the poppies really were. I was like, why are they going to sleep? But at the very beginning of the movie, that image of the poppy field was so gorgeous. Like just lines of the
Oh yeah.
poppies and they're all different colors. Like that was beautiful.
Well, also well. I agree with that. One of the things I loved about this movie as well is I felt like they did a very good job of recapturing that the world of Oz from the original
Hmm.
movie, but then still elevating it to, you know, a modern day level that definitely makes the world seem like it's popping off the screen.
Right. Like they didn't overdo it, but they definitely used current
Yeah,
technology to make it more vibrant.
exactly.
Wh which again, Wizard of
And
Oz, like, not for us because we weren't alive when it came out. We had seen movies in color, like, it wasn't that big a deal, but you gotta think about how life-changing that movie was. like for color
Well,
film, like how vibrant and beautiful it was. Like that's not an easy task, like it was so
you got
beautiful.
to. This movie came out in, I believe, 1939.
Yeah,
So, yeah, this movie is almost 40 years older than both of us put together.
right. And
So,
was Gone with the Wind before that or after it? I feel like it was after. I'm gonna have to look it up. But I mean, Gone with the Wind was, oh, Gone with the Wind was also 1939. Okay, interesting. But it still
I
wasn't as
believe,
vibrantly colorful as The Wizard of Oz, but it was gorgeous. Like
if
that
I
emerald green curtain dress would not have stood out in a black and white movie.
no, I do believe Gone with the Wind actually beat Wizard of Oz for Best Picture at the
Yeah, I
Academy
think so.
Awards that year.
And I
So,
agree with that, but it's tough. Only because I think Gone with the
well,
Wind was more socially relevant. But
yeah,
that's one talking point. Like you could make arguments for both movies for all kinds of things, but the
they're
Oscars has always leaned
both,
more towards socially relevant movies.
yeah. Well, and at the end of the day, both movies are insanely iconic
Yeah,
cinematic masterpieces. So,
for sure.
you know,
And you got to give it up to
uh,
what is her name? Hattie McDaniel? Yeah, Hattie McDaniel for winning an Oscar, like the first woman of color I think ever. Like good for her.
yeah. Well, I mean, the Academy Awards weren't that old when she won
No.
it to begin with, but I
Well,
mean,
there were very few
they
and far
are
between for
rapidly.
that too, but still.
So, I feel like there's another topic that needs to get discussed,
Okay.
but um, I feel like it will get discussed when we get to my top five,
Okay.
unless it's your top five as well. But
I'm interested to see. I feel well now I feel like they might not be the same. You want to go first?
ladies first, as always.
Okay.
Keep them wanting
Well,
more.
this segment is brought to you by the Sip List podcast. And my top five today is top five movie musicals. Is that also your top five?
So close.
Okay. All right. So, first off, disclaimer I did not include Hamilton because it's technically a recording of the stage play. So I did not include it as a movie musical. I call it a movie, like amongst friends and whatever, but technically it's not what it is. So, I have not ranked these, so
Technically, schmectically.
I'm going to be doing this on the fly. But first, a couple of honorable mentions. South Pacific, which I already mentioned. South Pacific is amazing. I have the soundtrack on vinyl. Just glorious. The King and I, another one
And
that I
that's an
love.
honorable mention. South Pacific is an honorable mention.
South Pacific would have been my number 6. I know it was close.
Ooh, I'm curious to see what the top five is now.
Yeah, South Pacific would have been my number 6. Let's see. Wizard of Oz, White Christmas, and The Muppets Take Manhattan are all my honorable mentions. And Enchanted. Okay, here we go. Number 5. Moulin Rouge. Number 4, The Greatest Showman. Number
Gene and
3,
Papa Palpatine are gonna love that one.
well, they can fuck off. The Greatest Showman's amazing. Now, we know, and not everybody would know unless you've researched it. P.T. Barnum was a piece of shit in real life. So obviously, you're not
Oh
watching
yeah.
Greatest Showman to think that he's this great guy. But other than that, the movie's amazing. The performances are fucking top notch. Like I love that movie. I don't care. Crap. Okay, where am I? I said Moulin Rouge, Greatest Showman. Is that where I stopped?
Yep.
Okay,
I interrupted you.
you're okay. Number three is Mamma Mia. Number two is a
Uh
tie
huh.
because I couldn't exclude one of these. So it is a tie between Little Shop of Horrors and Sweeney Todd. And number one is Hairspray. The new Hairspray, not the original with Ricky Lake. The one with Zac Efron. When I tell you I know every single word to every single song and will sing it at the top of my lungs, Hairspray is just amazing. And I didn't put Wicked in there just because I've only seen it once, and I feel like I need a few more watches to like really appreciate it. It's really really good. Don't get me wrong, but I am a musical person, and all of the movies I just named are very near and dear to my heart. So Wicked's gonna have to earn a spot. So yeah.
Well, it yeah, Wicked is one of those that 100%. I'm not saying how many times I'll probably watch it before part two comes out, but it will get rewatched numerous
Oh
times
yeah, for sure.
before part two comes
Yeah, I want
out.
to listen to my South
uh,
Pacific vinyl though. I haven't seen it in so long. Talkie, 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 happy talk. Talk about things you like to do. It might be vaguely racist, but at least it was an Asian person playing it. I don't think the
true.
person was Hawaiian. I think
Uh,
she was Asian, but anyway.
Polynesian's kind of sort of Asian.
It yes, they are, but it's a separate. I had a Polynesian friend. She was so freaking beautiful. I couldn't stand it. Anyway, and she was really nice. So
So my top
okay.
five list is top five songs from the musical Wicked.
Ooh, okay. Okay.
So this is the one that I feel like you and I would have had very similar number ones.
I think so too. Let's see.
So I'm going to go with number five being the opening number, No One Mourns the Wicked.
Okay. I might have put that a little higher, but good choice.
The problem is the soundtrack is freaking straight
Yeah.
fire.
Yeah. Yeah. It's amazing. And that's another
I
thing
mean,
the Greatest
everything.
Showman has. Like, the songs are
Oh yeah,
so just fun. And like, Wicked's like that too. Like, they're just so much fun. You just want to dance and sing along to them.
yeah,
So, okay.
exactly. Especially the more I can imagine, the more you watch
Yes.
and become familiar with it, it's going to just become more and more iconic, like the
Right.
songs in The Wizard of Oz.
Yeah.
So, my number four is "Dear Old Shiz."
Good one.
Shout out to Colin Jost.
Yeah.
Um,
She is.
Number three, "I'm Not That Girl."
Mhm. That one
Because
is love it.
KSTB is not that girl. Um,
You could never be my woman. Sorry, I had
uh,
to.
Number two is the song that was playing right before we went live, and I joined the studio. One Short Day.
Okay.
Basically, the number from uh, Elphaba and Glinda's arrival
Into
to
yeah.
the Emerald City. And then number one,
It better be what I think it is.
I mean, it's in the fucking description for the episode. Defying gravity.
Yeah. So beautiful. Oh,
That
chills all the way around chills.
as much as I did not want the movie to end where it ended, and I want part two now, god damn it. That song is probably the perfect way to end that movie before
Yeah.
you evolve into obviously the places that you're going to have to go in the second movie
Right.
so that you can bridge the gap between part one and the Wizard of Oz.
I agree with that
So
list. I think I might swap out, well, I would swap out Dear Old Shiz for Popular. I know Popular some people find annoying, but I just freaking love it. And probably at number 6 I would put Dancing Through Life. Like that's a close contender. I thought that scene
it
itself is a little cheesy, but I like it because I like
it's
cheese.
hard because, like I said,
Yeah, they're
the
all good.
soundtrack is fire. And
Yeah.
hey, Caleb, how's it going? Um,
Gonna be popular.
but you know, with all of that said, if you were to give the movie a ranking out of five,
So we didn't talk about this, so I'm just going to gloss over it real quick in my review. First of all, the cameos by Adina Menzel and Kristen Chenoweth made my heart
oh my god,
so
how did we
happy.
not bring that up?
I don't know how we forgot about that, but that I screamed like I was watching it by myself. I was like, "Oh my god!" Like because and to be fair, I've heard these songs enough that I know. I mean, those are two iconic voices. Adina Menzel is like fucking amazing. Kristen Chenoweth, if you've ever watched theater, like she's just
A
she
goddess.
has a theater voice. For people who know, for people who have done theater, watch theater, a theater voice is different from a singing slash radio slash recording voice, and sometimes they overlap. But you have to have a certain personality to have a theater voice, and she fucking nails it. Adina Menzel nailed it, like for in Wicked. So to see them in the show or in the movie was great. Ariana and Cynthia totally lived up to the hype, and I will almost argue that Cynthia did better than Adina vocally, but it's very, very close.
It is so it's. I mean, we're splitting hairs here
Right.
because
And
I made the comment at one point yesterday or while I was watching the movie that Cynthia's freaking vocals in this movie. I mean, she sang her ass off in
yeah,
this movie. Like every time she dropped a freaking note, it was bam, she
right.
nailed it. And not saying that Ariana Grande didn't, but there just there's something very powerful about Cynthia's
Very.
voice in this movie.
And I was honestly like worried a little bit about Ariana Grande, not because she can't sing, because that girl has an amazing voice. Like Abby wanted to see her in concert. We went, like I've heard her music. Her voice is powerful and beautiful, but again, it takes a certain personality to do musical theater, especially with a character like Glinda or Galinda, whichever. And she nailed it because you've got to get the sing talking, you've got to get the attitude, and then you've also got to get like the big production sound. And she nailed it. So I was very impressed by the
Well,
vocal performances.
I've I've also seen enough talent reality shows where it gets brought up almost on an every season basis where people get slapped around for being a Broadway singer, not
Right.
a pop singer or you know.
Because it's different. It's very, very different. It requires different vocal training. It's a different
Mhm.
because it's mostly personality. Because even though you're singing, you're basically singing dialogue a lot of the time until you
Yeah,
get into a full song. And you can tell that in this movie, like they are literally singing their dialogue a lot of the time. And so it's different than going into a studio and recording a pop song or whatever. And it's not that one's better than the other, it's just that it's hard to
no,
do both. So I thought they did really well.
yeah, and that's one of the things that Adam Lambert got slapped in the face for almost on an every week basis on American Idol.
Yeah. And it's hard to detach from
Because
that too. So
it is very hard to catch from that, and it takes people like, for example, Freddie Mercury to be able to have that kind of voice and still, you know, be able to deliver the way that they deliver.
yeah, because it's all about emphasizing words. Like it's so different
Mhm.
the way you emphasize certain words or syllables or things in musical theater versus when you're singing a song. And it has a different impact on the audience depending on how you do it. So it's a weird transition, and I thought they did really well. So I was super impressed. I would give this a 4.5 out of 5. I really enjoyed it. I loved the story. Um, it was all new to me except the songs. Like I knew the songs, but I didn't really know the story, and it was beautiful. Like I just felt transformed, not transformed. What's the word? I felt like I was
Transported.
there, like I transported. Thank you, Jesus. What's the word? My linguification is not doing very well today.
Uh-huh.
But you know what I mean. So yeah, there you go.
And just think, she's not even sipping
I
currently at the
know.
moment.
Yeah, I am. It's Friday.
Oh, okay.
I'm
I guess
devastated
I
that I
hadn't
got that
noticed
wrong.
that.
That's one of the things I love about
uh,
the made up words because it just feels so natural to me. So okay,
I, it's not the first time we've been coining new phrases on our own on either freaking podcast. So,
very true.
um, I'm going to go a little bit further on mine, and I'm going to go 4.75 um, animatronic animals out of 5
Oh, mine would have been
because
Grandma's black
uh,
hats. Granny's black
that
hats.
works too.
There you go. Okay.
Um, but for basically the same reasons that Amanda said as well, I'm opposite when it comes to the music and the story. I knew parts of the story and not as much the music going in, but getting introduced fully to the music now, it's like I officially added the soundtrack to my Spotify as well. So
Nice.
it will be, dare I say, probably having several of the songs pop up on my 2025 Wrapped in December. Tune in December to find out. Um,
Will it be,
but
dare I say, popular?
um, but everything about set design, costume design, the music, the acting, the story, the everything, it was everything I wanted from the movie and hoped that the movie would be. Until I actually sat down and watched the movie, there still was that little inkling in the back of my head that, God, I hope this doesn't suck,
Right.
because how much
Because it was
I
hyped
love the
up for
Wizard of Oz.
years. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and again, we talked about this last night as well, but I mean, this they've been talking about doing this movie for so long that even at one point, Kristen Chenoweth and Idina Menzel were initially thought to be the people to take on Elphaba and Glinda
Yeah, that would
when
have
it
been.
transitioned from the stage to.
Yeah.
I'm not necessarily saying it would have worked the way that.
I think it was perfectly cast. So. You went mute again. You gotta figure out your shiz. Shiz.
Is
Also, I saw in that documentary, is it Jason Chu? What I forgot his name already. Wearing the sweatshirt that just said shiz. I gotta get one of those.
yes, everybody should 100%. Oh, everybody should have a freaking shiz sweatshirt. But um, also a part of my review, though, if this I feel like is a movie that, especially if you love The Wizard of Oz and you haven't seen this movie, you definitely need to watch it because it definitely brings more to the table. And like we said earlier, it gets you thinking about things from a different perspective that
Yeah.
The Wizard of Oz doesn't necessarily want you thinking from.
Yeah.
Not that it either is right, wrong, or indifferent, but you know,
Well, it's not the point of
either
that
way,
story. So,
no, no. And the point of that story, it delivers what it's supposed to deliver.
right.
So, 100% love The Wizard of Oz, love Wicked. The other top five that I was backup planned with was top five Oz movies,
Oh.
and
Well, aren't there only
I
like
had
6 or 7?
there.
I mean, there's
True.
Oz the Great and Powerful, there's Wizard of Oz, there's The Wiz, there's Wicked. There's another one that goes with the Oz the Great and Powerful. I can't remember what it's called. What else is there?
Well, I had five movies in my top five. My
Okay.
number five was Return to Oz, the movie
Oh,
that
I forgot about that.
introduced the world to um, Vicky Valancourt. Um, my number
Girl is the
four
devil.
was Oz. My number four was Oz the Great and Powerful, with James Franco playing
Which I loved.
Oz. Number three was The Wiz. Number two, I gave to Wicked only because it's not the original,
Right. Obviously, Wizard of
and
Oz has to be number one.
Wizard of Oz has to be number one. So that was my number, or that was my
Nice.
secondary top five.
I agree with that. All right. Well, I'm about to pee my pants,
So,
so let's wrap this up.
all right, so it's the end of the episode, and obviously Amanda just said she has about ready to pee her pants. So,
My bladder
um,
is not
I'm,
defying gravity.
so thank you all to the listeners for being here each and every week. The Unpop Kernels are awesome and all of that. Um, Obviously, without you guys, we wouldn't be here each and every week. And we love and appreciate you all. Coming up next on An Evening at the Movies, we will be celebrating network mate Kendra's birthday and discussing Bridesmaids, as well as our audio only episode for the month is coming up as well, where we will be discussing The Princess Bride.
Woo!
So, yay for all of that greatness. We've got some other stuff coming up as well, but because somebody has bladder issues right now, I'm going to cut it out
Thanks.
and turn the microphone over to her and all of that. But again, thank you everybody for being here. Co-host, take us home.
Thank you guys so much for listening. We hope you enjoyed the show, and we hope it was the wickedest episode you've ever listened to. And we hope you all come back for an evening at the movies. Goodbye.
Peace in here, Grease.